Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for some people somewhere, wherever you are. Welcome to the HCast episode 33. Technically been going a bit longer, but it's only been named the HCast for 33 episodes.
I was like, man, I know we've
Yeah.
done more than 33 of these.
I know, yeah. Well, I only sort of figured out, coined a name and sort of tried to make it a bit more
Right.
official, I guess, 33 episodes ago. So welcome to the podcast, ladies and gents. If you're a little bit freaked out by the time, we always start 2 hours earlier on a Thursday to give everyone else the opportunity to look at other people who are streaming a little bit later at the usual time on a Tuesday. Today's episode is pretty big. We're going to be talking, it's literally all Disney stuff, and that is literally, that's just worked out that way. It's not me. It's just all Disney stuff. So bad news for Disney. We're going to be talking Tony Gilroy directly disobeying Disney and walking off the set of Andor, the production, season 2. Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy trying to make sure everyone still thinks that Rogue Squadron's going ahead, and Taika Waititi's moving, all this other nonsense. We've got Katie Sackhoff discussing the dark saber and revealing that she just doesn't really understand narrative structure or why people would be pissed that you just destroyed the dark saber. We're talking about the Acolyte, because that's just going to be hilarious when that drops. The Little Mermaid and the Dead Fish. Not dead. Looks dead, though.
Very much dead.
Dead eyes, anyway.
Uh-uh.
And we will be, of course, talking about Disney Plus, the quarterly 2 earnings call, and their massive, massive loss of 4 million subscribers, and how the likes of Variety, and the likes of Variety are trying to frame it as positive. So, mate, honestly, it's shocking.
I don't know how you can spin that positively, but all right.
Well, no, neither do I. But like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, fucking, on what planet are we doing this? But okay. So, if you are new to the podcast, ladies and gents, we have a panel. A few of them are a little bit late here. They've got other things going on, but they will be coming and joining.
We switched roles on this Thursday. I'm here on time, actually, and everybody else shows up late.
That's very.
I have an excuse for my lateness though, because I start work normally when we're starting the show. But
Exactly. But so we will have more people come in. For those that don't know, obviously everyone's channel who joins as a panel member will be down below in the description box, as well as the second channel where the best bits, as well as the whole stream clips go as well. So that's Mistakes Reviews Live Archives. Please do check that out. It's a good channel. Love to have you there. And I will say, guys, if you like what we're doing here with this show, help literally keep the lights on by doing super chats as well as super stickers. It's a way for you. I don't just say, chuck money. It's a way for you to actively get involved in the show, because as we discuss a topic and we come to the end of it, we take the super chats and we'll take your questions. It can be about the topic. It can be about anything, actually. So super chats are a really good way to go and get involved. And we actually have a first super sticker from Al Humphreys, which is a £3 super sticker and a big old thumbs up. Nice to have you on, my dude. I hope you're well. Pretty busy show. How are you doing, Nick? Anyway, whilst I do
doing good. I actually was in the backyard doing some yard work just a little bit ago, and then finished up with that, and then came in and jump on the stream and ready to knock this show out, hit these topics, talk some interesting conversation about some of the craziness going on out there.
Boy, howdy. It's it is an interesting one.
Yeah,
it is an interesting one. Oh dear. So we will be diving right on into our first topic, which I know is near and dear to your heart. Andor. Well, not. Andor's not near and dear to your heart, but Star Wars is.
A lot of people really liked Andor. I think you enjoyed Andor a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, I did like it.
And a lot of our folks in our chat and stuff had a lot of positive things for me. I'm not going to go into it or anything, but
No.
it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? So, just as an FYI, ladies and gents watching, this isn't anything about the quality of the show, right? This is more the hilarious element that the showrunner, has just gone, nah, see you later. I'm done.
Yeah.
Directly disobeying Disney. And this is all to do with the WGA strike and him standing in solidarity with the WGA. And, sort of abiding by that. But it's pretty major because Disney tried to circumvent the strike with producers or showrunners that also do writing by saying, no, you have to stay on board as showrunner and producer, knowing full well that they have to take on daily writing duties, essentially, when they are there as a showrunner, a producer, director. They're on board. They have to make micro changes. And so from an ethical perspective, this is where they're like, no, see you later. So it's a direct disobey to Disney. So let's take a look. Well, first, what do you think of this? Then we'll sort of dive into the actual nitty gritty of it all.
I think this whole strike thing is a huge mess. I mean, it is a huge mess. I don't know how long this is going to go on for. I don't know how long it can go on for. I mean, these people aren't getting paychecks. They're literally just, and most people, especially here in the U.S., are not big savers. So I would be surprised if any of these people had a large savings account or a large amount of cash or assets to kind of live off of as this whole writer's strike thing's going on. But I mean, I guess I could understand why he'd walk off if he's supporting the strike, but it's crazy. The whole thing's a mess.
Yeah, it massively is. So, I mean, I've already given my thoughts on the writer's strike as a whole, and I'm very down the line on it. Is that, and I said in my video on this, I was like, look, a lot of the writers are in the wrong job anyway. They absolutely are, right? Like they cost studios millions, hundreds of millions, sometimes of dollars. If I was a waiter, and I was, walking out serving food and I kept dropping it, and that restaurant had to keep at their own expense, had to keep refilling that plate up with food. I'm costing that restaurant money. I would expect to get fired. I would also definitely not expect to strike and then try and get a raise.
Yeah,
that is the perfect analogy of this.
Yeah,
A lot of these writers and people just go, "You're in the wrong job, mate. You can't carry food." A lot of these writers just can't write.
Yeah,
They're
and on
not
top,
producing entertaining content.
Yeah, and on top of that, a lot of these writers sit around and are collecting paychecks and doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them are literally like just hanging out, just, going into the office, and there's really nothing for them to do, and they're collecting paychecks for literally doing nothing. So that's a big issue also. And I think the studios and stuff address that in their claims of trying to work out a deal.
Yeah. So this is an article with the Hollywood Reporter, and they had the exclusive on this. That's why we're using this. But here's the ins and outs, right? So Tony Gilroy has told the Hollywood Reporter that he's no longer performing any non-writing duties for Andor, the Disney Plus Star Wars show he created and runs. In a statement, Gilroy responded to criticism he received from a fellow Writers Guild member for performing such services during the WGA strike against the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers, which represents studios and streamers. So the critique of the Andor creator and executive producer came after it was reported on Friday that Gilroy, whose scripts for season 2 of the Star Wars series were completed, was still contributing producing services, including casting and music-related duties. Gilroy says he was not present on the show's set and hasn't been since the strike began May 2nd. So, and here's a statement. I discontinued all writing and writing-related work on Andor prior to midnight, May 1st. After being briefed on the Saturday showrunner meeting, I informed Chris Keyser at the WGA on Sunday morning that I would also be ceasing all non-writing producing functions, Gilroy said in a statement to the Hollywood Reporter. When reached by phone late Tuesday, Keyser, the co-chair of WGA's negotiating committee, confirmed his conversation with Gilroy. Lucasfilm, which produces Andor, declined to comment. Now, it doesn't really matter who called out Tony Gilroy. He's basically a nobody. Abdullah Saeed's got like one writing credit. That's not important. The interesting thing is, on Friday afternoon, the Hollywood Reporter reported that studios, including Disney, had sent letters to showrunners demanding that they continue their contractually obligated non-writing services amid the strike. The WGA called the studio's request union-busting tactics and said that such services as cutting for time, small changes to dialogue or narration made before or during production, and changes in technical or stage directions, none of which Gilroy was performing, he says, are duties guild members are prohibited from doing during the strike. So this is a direct. See you later, Disney. Bye-bye. Fuck off. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I can understand the studios and Disney saying, hey, look, while this strike's going on, we have a contract with you. You need to stay obligated to that contract and come in and do the non-writing duties that we're paying you for and that you're contracted with us for, which makes sense, you know. So I mean, I guess Gilroy really stands with the WGA and the writers on their side of things, and basically just said, "F you, I'm out. I'm gonna go stand with the people, you know, the writers." And I'm sure that really pissed Disney off.
Just mega.
I mean, their showrunner for Andor season 2 is now gone. You know, I mean, there's no telling what I would love to be a fly in the room, you know, at Lucasfilm with these conversations going on with Kathleen Kennedy or Bob Iger when they're discussing this stuff, because I'm sure they are furious right now.
Oh, can you believe? Can you just imagine? We've got Tom here as well. Tom, what do you think of this, mate?
I'm not even 100% sure what you guys are talking about. I just rolled in. Sorry.
We are talking about Tony Gilroy, the showrunner of Andor, walking off and not doing his contract basically for season 2.
Wow, Kathleen Kennedy pissed off another one. She pissed off one of the replacements.
Well, no, so it's all to do with the WGA strike.
Yeah.
Oh, well, in that case, then we're all better off.
Andor's good. Don't give me that.
I don't know. Was it though?
Yeah, it was. It was very good.
I didn't think so, Tom.
Whatever.
I don't know. I got 3 episodes in.
But I do have hopes. Good. I do have higher hopes for season 2. I think I could possibly like season 2 more than I enjoyed season 1.
Well, I just think for me, it's just the hilarious element of just them, him directly going, "Nah, see you later. I'm not doing this. See you later."
Yeah, because
directly disobeying them.
Yeah, because they basically, and I'm sure you heard this, Tom, where they sent all the showrunners letters saying, "Hey, we need you to come in and be on set to do your non-writing duties, you know, that you're contractually obligated to do for us." And so I guess he came in to do that stuff, and one of the writers, I guess, sent him a message or an email or something. And then after reading that, he was like, "All right, I'm out." And
well, effectively,
the people on strike.
Well, effectively, yeah. I mean, effectively, that is literally what happened. Again, it's just, to me, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I love it. I don't know. But
this is definitely going to push the release of a lot of these shows, especially Andor season 2, back several months, I'm sure.
Well, I wonder what a company like Disney will do now given their sort of over-reliant, well, not over-reliance, but their main focus being that sort of Disney Plus stuff. Now they're not going to be able to do it. But it's not just that. I mean, you're talking about all the movies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad times. Real bad times. Bad times. How you doing, Tom? You all right? You here now? You good?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm awake. I'm with you. I didn't get to check out the Disney earnings call yet to see how bad it was, but yeah.
So yeah, don't you worry about it. We'll be covering that as well. In fact, I think that should probably end up being our next topic. I think, although I don't know when. I don't know whether Andre wanted to chime in on that, but I know he's not here. I don't know when he's going to get here. So
on kid duty, but he should hopefully be here soon.
Yeah, well, we'll dive into that as our next topic. So, ladies and gents, the earnings call. Now I don't have the ins and outs of the earnings call, but we've got some of it, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. Disney Plus has lost 4 million subscribers when it was projected by Wall Street to grow. So not only has it not grown, but it has also lost 4 million subscribers in the second straight quarterly drop. So for 6 months in a row, Disney Plus has now lost subscribers. But Variety is trying to frame this as a positive by going, well, streaming losses have narrowed. Okay. And that matters why? Like, that's based on what? Based on the previous subscriber numbers and the income? Based on the new subscriber income? What's it based on? Is it based on the fact that you shed 7,000 people?
Yeah.
You fired 7? Like, what's it based on? Like, you can't say that this is positive in any way, shape, or form. So just from a headline perspective, Tom, let's get your thoughts on that while I sip some.
This is bad. I mean, we had a conversation on Midnight's Edge After Dark about a week and a half ago or so, where I was asking everybody, do you think the streaming war is over? In fact, I think it is, and I don't think anybody won. I think everybody lost in this. This was a dumb move. You've got financial advisors going out there and telling Paramount, stop streaming, it's losing you money. But it's too late. These guys have decided to get on this boat, and it's left the harbor. They can't turn around now. But at this point, this is basically what we were trying to warn everybody with Disney. You mess with your core audience, and they are going to turn away from you in droves.
Yeah.
Because I really can't chalk it up to much more than just either the economy. I'm sure that's a part of it. People just don't have the extra money to spend. But other than that, I think a lot of it has to do with families just saying, you know what, we don't trust Disney.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would agree with that. And they've had multiple bad headlines consistently during this 6-month period, and obviously before as well. But it's slowly ramped up and up and up and up and up. All these bad headlines that they're getting, like, people do eventually take note. It's like, so it's almost like a good comparison would be, and this will make sense, the likes of Coca-Cola and their advertising, right? Now, Coca-Cola doesn't need to advertise. It's like it's everywhere. But they do advertise because it becomes a subliminal thing. Now, Disney getting consistent bad headlines, eventually people will take notice. At the start, people don't, but eventually they do. And then it becomes a subliminal thing of people going, God, fucking Disney are real bad. God, Disney are real bad. What we do? Are we just, we're not liking Disney? Okay, yeah, we're not liking Disney. It's that thing. It is literally just that thing that people end up doing. So, yeah, not good. So the article says Disney Plus shed another 4 million subscribers in the first 3 months of 2023, marking the streamer's second consecutive quarterly drop after closing 2022 with its first ever decline. And then they're like, on the bright side, the Mouse House also managed to narrow its streaming business losses by 400 million, down 26% year over year. Again, how are you doing that metric? What metric are you working on when you say that? Is it the previous subscriber amount? Is it the new subscriber amount? Is it the fact that you binned off 7,000 people? Like, what is that based on?
And I'm going to just kind of throw spitball out there. I think that they're going off of the idea that, remember when Disney Plus started? It was it was right during the pandemic shit.
Yeah.
So all of the stuff that they were producing went straight to Disney Plus. Since then, they've been able to send things to theaters. So they're probably, it's just probably the difference, the amount of money that they saved, if it's not from all the people they fired, it's from the fact that they've been able to release movies in theaters instead of straight to Disney Plus, I bet. Does that make sense?
Actually, yeah, that's a worthwhile. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's an absolutely worthwhile thing to mention. To be fair, you're probably
that's the only way you could lose that many people and still manage to save money is because you're not releasing everything to the platform. You're actually putting things out in theaters too.
Yeah, you're not losing money by immediately just releasing it onto your own platform. Basically, is what you're saying. So, yeah,
that's the only way I can see this making financial sense here.
Yeah. So on Wednesday, Bob Iger and co. beat Wall Street estimates for Disney's quarterly earnings and revenues due to an impressive January-March showing at the company's theme parks. That is the only thing that is keeping them afloat. So that win comes during a fiscal Q2, which concluded April 1st, plagued by company-wide layoffs, a looming and now active writer's strike, and a turf war with Florida Governor, apparently, Rick DeSantis. Variety, for goodness sake.
Never heard of that guy. Who is that?
Hey, neither Rick DeSantis. Rick DeSantis.
Is that his brother?
Who knows?
Hey, Rick.
It's very funny, though. So, Disney ended the quarter with 157.8 million subscribers at Disney Plus, significantly missing Wall Street's estimate of 163.17 million subscribers. Now, that projected figure would have been up from 161.8. So they were projected to grow by 2 million subscribers, but they actually contracted by 4 million subbers.
Yeah, because
bad actually when you think about it.
That's really bad.
Because just this
that's
past
why they're
February,
down now $10 or something like that.
Yeah, just this past February, they just announced that they lost 2.4 million subscribers worldwide. Yep. And now here they are. They've lost 4 million, since then. So you're looking at a total, what is that, 6.4 million just this year alone? I mean, that's not good.
Consistent losses across the board consistently for 6 months. And you can see the headline here, Disney Plus to add Hulu content in a one-app experience later in 2023. Prices for Disney Plus to increase. I mean, that doesn't scream as a sort of desperation. I don't know what does. I mean, that's something which they were doing in other parts of the world as it was. So it goes to show that they think that their own marketing strategy, how they've sort of segmented their platform, is a failure.
Yeah. I mean, they're almost... in a way, kind of competing against themselves, having Hulu and Disney Plus. But correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. Disney doesn't own 100% of Hulu, correct?
Not yet, but I think that I think they said again. I didn't watch the earnings call, but I think there was an allusion to that by the end of the year they would have to come up with some sort of deal with them. Because I think the whole deal that I understand it, and this is a very broad generalization, is that they started this with they started Hulu with Universal and Comcast. I can't remember which other company it was. What was it, Nick?
Comcast?
Maybe. Yeah, I think it was Comcast. Yeah, so or Universal is Comcast. Never mind. No, there was. I thought there was a third party involved, but I think they got bought out a while back. But basically, it's down to Disney and Universal, and the way that the deal is structured. Disney has to buy them out if Universal wants out of the deal. So that's kind of what they did earlier or late last year, or whatever. They said they were getting out of the deal or whatever. So Disney's got to come up with X amount of money to pay them by the end of this year, I think it is. I don't know the exact ins and outs, but like it has something to do with that. But you're right, Nick. But at the same time, they need like a star. They don't have a star here like they have outside of the U.S. Nate, you're probably familiar with Star, which is basically the adult version of Disney Plus. But yeah.
Yeah, so we have a bit more of a breakdown of their losses, and it's huge, actually. So Wall Street forecast earnings per share of 93 cents on 21.78 billion in revenue, according to analyst consensus data provided by Refinitiv. Disney reported adjusted EPS of 93 cents on 21.82 billion in revenue. Disney posted negative free cash flow of 168 million for the quarter. Starting with its fiscal quarter 2, 2022, Disney restructured its financial results into two segments: Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution, Disney Parks, Experiences and Products. Disney's direct-to-consumer revenue for the quarter rose 12% to 5.5 billion. Sounds good, while its operating loss decreased 26% to 1.1 billion. Still operating at a loss, which is better than analysts forecasted. However, Disney's linear TV networks revenue also dropped 7% to 6.6 billion, and operating income decreased 35% to 1.8 billion. Revenue for Disney's domestic TV channels business, which include ABC and ESPN, decreased 4% to 5.6 billion, and operating income decreased 33% to 1.6 billion. The drop in operating income was attributed to lower ad revenue and higher sports programming and production costs. International channels revenue for the quarter dropped 18% to 1.1 billion, and operating income fell 65% to 85 million. The only good spot is Disney's Parks and Experiences, which saw revenue climb 17% to 7.8 billion and operating income rise 23% to 2.2 billion, reflecting increased guest spending at international and domestic parks and experiences. Content sales, licensing, and other revenues, which includes box office revenue. So box office revenue increased 18% to 2.2 billion and saw an operating loss of 50 million, which was down from an increase of 16 million year over year. I mean, it's not good at all.
No, it seems like most everything is going down for them, except for their parks and their theatrical releases. But they're
still
still
only doing well. Parks are only doing well because they're actually open.
Yeah,
remember these are year-on-year projections. So if you were to compare their earnings to when it was at the peak pre-COVID, it would probably pale in comparison to that still.
Oh, so somebody should. I wonder why they don't do like a comparison or article based on that.
I wonder why they don't.
It'd probably really look bad. Yeah, they don't. They probably don't want to touch those numbers.
It's not looking good. No, none of this is. Tom, what do you think? I mean, it's literally just linear losses.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to scramble in some way to make this look good for them somehow. I mean, I don't know how they can, but I mean it is what it is. At the end of the day, they gotta pull themselves up by the bootstraps and figure this shit out, for lack of a better way of putting it. This is a tough time for Hollywood. I mean, the Schadenfreude, I got to tell you, there's a little bit of that going on. It kind of sucks for us as far as reporting some news because there's not a lot going on right now with the strikes, and the companies are kind of just tanking. But at the same time, I look at it and I laugh because it's like, good, this is what you get.
Well,
you play with the bull, you're going to get the horns, right? Like,
revenue of the Walt Disney Company's Parks and Resorts segment worldwide from 2008 to 2018. I thought 2018 would be better because 2019 it started to. I can't quite remember when COVID happened, but we'll just do 2018. 2018, 20.29 billion, right, was what it took. What was this? So saw a revenue climb to 7.8. So can we actually get the? I don't know if we
so they're currently at 7.8.
Oh, revenue. Yeah. So the revenue of what? So that is a direct comparison, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
To 7.8. Well, they're fucking way off then, aren't they?
Oh.
Is that right? That can't be right. Have I got the wrong statistics? It's looking like the same thing. Revenue, 20.29 billion. Revenue, 7.8 billion.
And this is just the parks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just parks, experiences, and products group. Yeah, I tried to do a direct comparison. Is that right? Because if so, that's really bad. Oh no, that's the year.
Oh, okay, that's for the year.
So
This
first
is
quarter.
the
okay.
First quarter 7 point. Okay,
I wasn't even 100% sure what you were looking at there.
So
Sorry.
No, that makes sense, right? God, damn.
Just take the
I was gonna say it's even real
7.8
bad.
times 4. What does that come out to?
Well, it would come up. Yeah, adjusted for inflation though, that would still be less, wouldn't it? Because it'd be 28. It'd be 28 billion, just give or take. Right?
Yeah,
sort of round it, or 8. So 16, 32 billion. What would 20.29? We need culture here with his numbers. 20.29 billion in 2018 adjusted for inflation now. What would that be? Because that would still...
I don't know what the inflation percentage is from today, from then to...
It's really high at the moment.
How many years ago?
2018.
18.
So it's up
5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to do that one. I'd have to look up it on a calculator.
Yeah, okay. Well, core inflation averaged 3.36 per year between 2018 and 2023. For an inflation total of 17.96%. So if $1 in 2018, it was basically worth 1.21 today. I don't know how to work that out. That still sounds bad though, doesn't it? My terrible mathematics.
Yeah. Well, I'm not real good at math either, so I'm not much of a help.
I suck at math. I just literally pulled up a calculator trying to figure it out.
Yeah, God, awful people. Well, actually, so, okay, yeah. So $20 would be $24.15 today. So no, actually, it's doing slightly okay, slightly better. Apparently, if this calculator is done right, which may be. So it's doing slightly all right, I guess. But then how much have they increased? Have their entry fees, their sales of tickets, have they increased in line with inflation? Probably not. Because haven't they jacked their prices up way high? I'm pretty certain they have. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain they have. Anyone? Nick? Cole?
No idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Come on. You tell me you don't get a Disney
numbers in. Go ahead.
Yeah, like my brain is hurting right now.
Oh, goodness me. Come on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to work it all out. Anyway.
We always try to bring like Valiant in or somebody.
That's what I was saying. I need my Valiant Renegade or my Mikey.
Yeah, or Mike.
Yeah. Well, either way, if we're looking at it now, it's not great in terms of the other things. Even if the parks are on a good upward trend, the rest of it's not great at all by any stretch of the imagination. And I think this marks a pretty sizable trend in general with Disney as a whole, their sort of downward trend that they're doing. And the stock sort of follows that. It tracks that, like it's not good.
Yeah.
Their stock's not looking good either.
Yeah, I think their stock's down today, actually.
Yeah.
I think they're under $100.
Yeah, it's $91.98. Valiant, in fact, shared it.
Yep, down almost 9%.
9%. Over 9%. Not good. No. That's not good. That's real bad. Oh, well. What do we think? What do we think, ladies and gents? What do we think?
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to really care that much about it, to be fair, about Disney going downhill. I wonder whether people will check out from their parks, though. That's the thing, right?
Couldn't have happened to nicer people.
Because that's the only thing that's keeping them afloat is their parks. Literally, like we've just gone through it. The parks is the only thing keeping them afloat.
Yeah, there was somebody talking about this the other day on a stream. I can't remember. It might have been Tom's stream. It might have been on Midnight's Edge, but they're talking about, ultra uber Disney fans that even though they don't agree, they can't stop going to the parks or buying the merchandise or watching the movies.
It was you. It was you on Tuesday. You said that on Tuesday.
Was that me?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I can relate, though. I do that all the time.
We were saying about it on Tuesday. Oh, fucking hell. That's hilarious.
Well, anyways, yeah. Those people still exist
Olaf
out there.
says I said it, but we'll know what? We'll give Nick credit for it.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of when I'm streaming something, I'll be like, somebody said this last week on the show, and Script Doctor will be like, you said that, Tom.
Yeah. Well, I guess because we all sort of chime in as well, sometimes it gets a bit muddied on who said what.
Well, and you don't want to like accidentally take somebody else's point either, right? Like,
yeah.
No, that's exactly it. Oh, goodness me, that's hilarious. Right, anyway. Oh dear. Right. Anyway, we've got some super chats to get to. Let's take a small break. Have you just been banned from Twitter, Tom? Am I reading that right on Twitter?
Oh, I was. Banned? I'm finally back.
Oh, Tom was.
Nobody noticed I was gone, evidently. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I got booted last night. It didn't even tell me why, and then now I'm back. So
you offended the wrong people,
I guess.
So just
it didn't ask me to delete nothing, so it didn't tell me what I did wrong.
It's so annoying when they do that. Super. If you want to join in the conversation, by the way, guys, super chats, really good way to chime in as well as support the show. Just Nova 1138 says for $4.99 at this point, I truly think actors and crew of Disney are just looking for a paycheck and don't care of artistic integrity. If trash pays, so be it. I don't know whether a lot of them are indoctrinated, and they genuinely think a lot of it's good, but there have been a few people speak out now about the Academy's new rules because they're bringing in even further rules and regulations.
Did you see Richard Dreyfuss's comments?
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm pretty certain that's the guy that was just like, "This is fucking ridiculous." Like,
yeah, it makes him sick.
Makes him want to vomit.
Yeah. It was his comments. Yeah, he went hard on the Academy.
Yeah,
but I think there's a lot of people that are absolutely just indoctrinated, and they think, yeah.
Well, and we're starting to see a few, and I mean, Dreyfuss has always kind of been more right leaning, but we're starting to see a few of the other guys come out and start to say some of the points we've been saying. In fact, Tom Hanks just spoke out on, censorship in books. He's like, allow me to decide what I'm offended by. It's like, oh, sure, now you guys can say this crap.
No.
Yeah. Now, God. Isn't that because he's just written a book? I swear he's just written a book.
He might have.
I think that's actually why. I swear he's just written a book.
But you also had Sean Penn, who was on with Bill Maher recently, and Bill was pointing out like the whole pronoun business and all that stuff. And Bill said to Sean, you guys are the ones who are going to start going out there and saying this shit's stupid. Because you guys are the ones who started this shit, in so many words. Right. And, it's true. And Dreyfuss, he's spot on. This is nonsense. And we talked a little bit about these Oscar rules the other day. And I thought, either it's going to go one of two ways. They're either going to have a movie that should have won, or you will have like 2 years in a row where you'll have a couple of movies that should have won, didn't even get nominated or any kind of recognition. So they'll just change the rules or they'll just ignore them. Right. Because they're almost impossible, because you go through every Best Picture winner. Let's just the Best Picture winners. Almost none of them would have won the Oscars under these rules.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane. Like it's legitimately insane.
I mean, unless they're a lot more broader than they sound in the way that they're dictated, but I mean, if you read them, they're just ridiculous. But
yeah, well, I wonder how much is done to placate to the to the left mob, and the amount that they actually choose to keep in line or not. Who knows, right, on these things? Because yeah, as you say, like if you were to read it, it doesn't look like anyone would be able to do anything. It's absolutely nonsense, ridiculous. But it also, I mean, it just further solidifies the irrelevancy of an outfit like them.
Yeah, those award shows. I mean, the numbers for the audience seem to drop every single year more and more for them.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was slightly up for the Oscars this year, last year, whenever it was, the most recent one.
Yeah, but I think that's because people were hoping
down.
for a slap. Yeah.
They were wanting to see what how they would react to last year's slap deal.
But it was still down massively.
Yeah,
like it might have been up, but it's still a huge loss still from its peak. So yeah, the irrelevancy is huge. Absolutely just ridiculous. Al Humphreys, and another reason why, guys, just as an FYI for super chats, some of your super chats, if they get sort of dived into really, really in depth and they're the thought-provoking questions and things, sometimes they actually get clipped as their own video over on the second channel, which I have just done for the James Gunn question that we were talking about with the superhero fatigue and stuff. So another good reason to do super chats, guys.
And I'm sure this one's going to generate an excellent clip.
Yeah. Al Humphreys, Al Humphreys for £5. Thank you so much. Says, hey, Tom Connors, I have the same alarm on my phone. Samsung standard. I think it's a good one.
It's called I'm a lazy ass who don't know how to do shit on his phone. And I got to go in and take off some of my alarms because that was embarrassing. I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine. Cheers, Al. Do appreciate it. Olaf Van Es for €2 says they want to merge Hulu with Disney Plus, which is similar things to kind of what they already do here.
That's what I was getting at with Star. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a similar thing. Like you basically get everything in Disney Plus here. So it does make sense that they would. I mean, they should have just done that from the start anyway. I don't understand why they didn't. It's just obviously it's a licensing thing, as sort of said before. I don't know whether that will make it better though. I mean, it'll inflate their numbers because then the next numbers that you get from Disney Plus once they're merged will be much higher because they'll be like, well, we've got all these subscribers now. So do you actually though? Because you don't. And I tell you what, I wonder. Here's an interesting thing, right? When they merge with Hulu, I wonder whether they'll count the same people that are already subscribed to Disney Plus that are also subscribed to Hulu, whether they cross-merge, they cross-pollinate, and they'll separate them as two subscribers, because they might do that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
If you think about it, right? There will be a large portion of that. It's like 20-odd million people, whatever it is, that are subscribed to Hulu.
They'll basically count the same person twice.
Yeah, I bet you anything they'll do that.
Count it as accounts.
No one will be able to independently verify it, but I bet you anything they will.
Unless they're under the exact same account number and all that business, then
yeah. Which is, I bet you that'll happen. You'll literally just suddenly see close to like, an extra 20-odd million straight away, and it's like, well, that's not true, is it? Instantly, it's not true.
And then the thing is, like 2 months later, when the next earnings come out, I mean, they'll have to fix that. And then what are they going to be like? Oh, we just lost like 20 million. Like, wow, 20. How did you lose so many? We were counting people twice the last time.
Fucking hell. Yeah, ridiculous. Project's done poorly for $5 says, I hope Disney dissolves and gets broken into smaller companies. Then maybe other things will get focus and get success. Things like Henry Cavill's 40K. Yeah, so Henry Cavill working with Amazon, of all people, to do the Warhammer 40K stuff. Interesting. I hope it gets off the ground. I don't know whether Disney dissolving into smaller companies will make it better, though. Lucasfilm separated from Disney. They've spent a very long time being connected there now. There's a lot of people that are in the skin there that you'd have to get rid of, which,
Lucasfilm would end up with their own. They'd probably end up with their own board, overseeing traded publicly,
Yeah.
I mean, if they split a lot of these companies up, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good for. I just hope they just burn it all to the ground and then they sell Lucasfilm to somebody else and let somebody else have a crack at it. Not saying it's going to be any better, but I mean, give somebody else a chance at this point.
But do you think do you think that they've done too much damage now? Because I honestly think that there's the potential that too much has been brand damage.
Brand damage for sure. I mean, I don't know what they would, if they would be able to get what they paid for it out of it.
No,
at this point,
no, not at all.
No,
I wouldn't pay $4 billion for Star Wars right now.
I'll pay $4. That's about it.
I mean, a lot of people like to bring up the Power Rangers thing as an example of Disney buying something and then selling it.
Yeah.
But they don't do that very often. And the last thing that I see them, see, here's the thing that people also need to understand. A lot of their IPs, their original stuff, like Disney is going to lose a lot of that stuff to public domain pretty soon.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Marvel characters. There's certain rights and stuff that are coming up. So whatever they can hang on to, they're going to hang on to with a death grip. The beauty of Star Wars is it's technically a fresh franchise still. It's not going into public domain for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That is actually very, very true. Worth noting. Larry Quadowitz for $5 says, "Hello, Mr. H. Tom and Nick. It's not superhero fatigue. It's bad movie series fatigue, in my opinion."
100%.
And I saw another version, or somebody asked James Gunn again about the whole superhero fatigue thing again. And he said same kind of thing again. He said, it's not that. It's people are sick and tired of people watching people punch each other for, half hour for no reason. Man of Steel. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
I mean, when Deadpool 3 comes out with Hugh Jackman returning and whoever, there's rumors that Magneto's going to be in it from the original X-Men movies, and if that all happens, do you think they're going to be like, superhero fatigue? Like, I'm not going to go see another superhero movie. No, that movie's probably going to get people in the theaters with everybody involved. Depending on the marketing and all that sort of stuff. I think people will be excited for that. And if they brought Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. back and they're like, Captain America, Iron Man's back, new film, I mean, that would have a flood of people coming back in. So yeah, I don't think it's superhero fatigue at all.
Yeah. No, I think it's more crappy movie fatigue, woke fatigue, whatever you want to call it. Because like Nick just said, all you need is another Spider-Man No Way Home to come out. And they'll be like, well, what about superhero fatigue again? Yeah, it's nothing to do with that. It's like you idiots sitting behind those desks up there in Hollywood. You have no idea the gold mines you're sitting on because you have to adhere to all this other BS. Yep. Right? Like, it sucks that we got to this point in history where they finally realized, oh God, they really want to see all these superheroes together on screen like they do in the comic book, or they want to see stories like they do in the comic books. And by the time they realized that, the woke thing happened, right? If it wasn't for that, I would say we would still be flying high on this Marvel kick, probably. I mean, the ceiling could have been broke through big time had they just kept going with what they were doing. Adding politics and trying to change the main characters into these other characters and stuff like that, that's what killed this. It has very little to do with superheroes themselves, because people still watch the stuff. People like it. People love Spider-Man. People love Superman. People love Batman. The only Guardians of the Galaxy, the only reason I think that movie isn't doing so well is just because of the stuff we were talking about before with the Disney stench being all over it, right? And Marvel just kind of the last dozen movies being mediocre. And I watched Guardians 1 and 2 and Infinity War and Endgame in prep for Guardians 3. And I'm just sitting here during, the middle of Guardians 1 going, God, I remember when they could make movies like this. What happened to this? What happened to Marvel? Right? Like, I mean, it's such a tight, excellent script. There's no nonsense in it, no extra bullshit shoved into it or anything like that. It's just a fun, exciting story. Same thing with the second film, even though it's a bit more, personal with the whole father story and all that. But again, no extraneous nonsense seeping into it, trying to tell us what to think or how to feel, and why can't we just get back to something like that? Once we get past this nonsense, I think that superhero films will probably have a resurgence, but I don't know if they'll ever be able to come back to what they were. Plus, Endgame set the bar so high.
Yeah, it did. And the thing is that was sort of like the culminating end to the whole thing. And then, if they would have, continued it to set up like the next story moving forward, or thrown some after credit scene, like, all right, so now here's the next big baddie that's coming up that they don't even know is coming yet, or something.
Yeah,
But
just ended it.
Yeah, it was just like, that's it. That's all, folks. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, Andre.
What's going
absolutely.
on, Andre?
Yeah, no, I was otherwise occupied, but glad to be here. And yeah, you know what? I recently rewatched the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I stand by. It's the best movie ever to come out of the MCU.
Really?
And yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that was the true power of the Marvel brand. You could sell something as extremely high concept as a talking raccoon and a tree that knows the words I and am and Groot exclusively in that constellation and that order and nothing else. It's like something that should never work, but it did. And audience flocked to it. They flocked to it because of the strength of the Marvel brand. And then it was a damn fine movie.
Yeah, agree with that. Nice
to have you
on, dude.
Can't make movies like that anymore. They no longer have the infrastructure.
Yeah. So let's just get to, I think we've got like 2 more super chats and then we'll shuffle on to our next topic. This is just a troll one. No, but cheers for $5. Appreciate it. Gary for £5 says comic books have been around for years and they haven't given people superhero fatigue.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as the core audience, yeah.
Because the sales are going down, though, aren't they? That's the thing. We've seen that a lot. That the sales of Marvel comics generally.
There's still interest in the classic characters, though, if that's what he's getting at. I mean,
yes, that's what I mean, right? So that it adds to the point further is that that it's bad movie, bad comic fatigue. As long as something's good, people will watch it, I guess. So but there's still an argument to be had that people will check out because they've been overloaded with crap. So then they don't give things a chance to even be positive and good. There is still that argument as well, which definitely does happen. Like everyone keeps saying Picard season 3 is great, but they burnt me. I'm not interested. I don't give a shit. I won't watch it, no matter how good everyone keeps saying it is. They've lost that goodwill. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
An overproduction of shite makes people, you lose people's goodwill.
I mean, people used to try and compare, and they still do, compare superhero movies to Westerns. And I used to be resistant to that because I didn't think they were the same thing. But it's starting to get to that point, but it's their own doing, right? Like, it's not like it had to be this way.
Oh, they saturate the market. No,
it's not just even the saturation, it's the quality.
Yeah.
And it's the quality of them because, again, you go back to the first 20 years of this whole thing, because here we are now at 2023. 20 years ago, we had, we just got off of Blade, X-Men, X-Men 2, Spider-Man 2, and at least a handful of other superhero films that were massive, right? And that's what kind of spawned where we're at now. And Westerns lasted a hell of a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like, to me, it's like this could have gone a lot further than it did they are the ones that, and movies like Spider-Man No Way Home prove that, right? Like once in a while when one of these drops, we get the people who want to go see it because it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. Very, very true. Oh.
But Westerns also, well, we lost Andre. He's having issues. Westerns also migrated to television, too. That was the other thing. And superheroes have already kind of been there, done that.
Yeah, literally just about to say, yeah, similar to... Well, superheroes kind of started off on television a little bit as well. Not started, but they've always been on television.
Well, they work better in a serialized form. That's the thing. I mean, yeah, they're good for a movie here or there, but like, let's be real. At the end of the day, what does most fans want? We'd love a Batman series in the vein of Batman the Animated Series, right? Like a live action series. That's the kind of thing we'd love to see on TV, and it makes sense. It lends itself to that because comic books themselves are serialized. I mean, that's one of the catches of the old Batman TV show from the '60s was, you'd have to tune in the next day to find out what happened, right? Or next week or whatever, So like that's the whole point of that. I mean, they even the comic books characters themselves, the first times they were ever put on celluloid was the old serials back in the day, right? You had Flash Gordon and Batman had their own serials. Green Hornet had their own serials. Captain Marvel had his own serial. These things just kind of lend themselves to that kind of storytelling a little bit better, I think.
Yeah. 1 second. I have to reply to a company that I bought a brake kit from.
Oh, okay. Well, is Nick back yet too, or is he still going?
I don't think so. Wait,
that means I got to entertain everybody for 2 minutes.
Well, no, mate, I'm just doing it right now. It's just because I'm trying to explain to them that it doesn't match the hub, but I'm like, I think it's just because it's a weird random market thing, so I have to get it machined. And so once I get it machined, then it doesn't really matter because it's only a bracket, which means that as long as the rotor still fits and everything else fits, it should now. Once that's machined, then it's just an interchangeable part at that point, basically.
Yeah. And you lost me like you did with the math.
Sorry. Well, it's just it's engineering, basically. It's just
I'm not a gearhead. Never have been. I'm not a tech nerd either, like Paul Chatto.
Right. Anyway, done. God, it's a fucking nightmare. Anyway, God, Andre's computer's super slow at booting up.
He must have had an issue, evidently.
Yeah, apparently so. Right. So, next topic is Nick. Are you back yet? Because you said you're only letting a dog out. I mean, that was like
that dog had to take a poo.
Oh, apparently so. I don't think dog. I thought his dog passed away. So I want to bring that up because that was quite.
Maybe he has multiple dogs or got a new dog.
True. Yeah, true. We got another super chat from Al Humphreys. Did anyone else see Looper's video on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 smashing the box office? What have they been smoking? It's not done well yet.
No, what? I didn't.
Oh, you fucking shit.
Looper.
Man.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Really?
Looper is kind of a. Yeah. Hey, Andre, welcome back.
3.
Thank you. Now my connection is even working a little bit better than it did the last time.
You sound excellent.
Okay, I'm glad to hear it.
Just trying to...
I mean, I guess on that note, I mean, it's a little early to be doing a video on the smash hit that it is.
Oh, yeah, it literally says Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 crushed at the box office. Here's why. I mean, it's... What?
Are they going off of the idea that it's the second biggest opening of the year thus far? Because that's not saying a lot.
I have no idea.
This is what we call spin.
Yes.
Like, try to do anything to try to
and run I love the movie.
Errand. I love the movie too. I absolutely love it. And of course, as many of your viewers will know, Mr. H, because the two of us discussed it in detail last week here, and I think that was a really good breakdown of it.
It was good. Sadly, not many people have watched it, but it was good. It was very, very good.
Well, here's like the thing: when something is good, there's no need to watch the breakdowns. Much more fun.
Yeah, that is true.
Fun to watch, but in this case, no. But it's a really good movie. But sadly, exclusively because of the damage to the Marvel brand. Just compare and contrast the opening to this movie. with Thor: Love and Thunder this summer, which opened to an incredible 60 million more. But again, Thor: Love and Thunder, that contributed to the damage to the Marvel brand. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, that really did a number on it. And also, I do believe that She-Hulk turned a lot of people off.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, and then of course you have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which flopped. It flopped big time, because now you even have like industry analysts saying that it ended up losing Marvel 125 million, and that's a conservative estimate.
Oh, what's this, Tom? You shared.
And this is where I don't understand where they can say it's a hit, because that shaded area is the expectation. Go ahead on.
Yeah. So when everyone is saying that it's a hit, then they're simply talking about the earnings without considering the costs at all, and then who the hell knows what they're comparing with. I mean, yeah, if you compare with the very first Guardians of the Galaxy, which opened to 94 million, I've seen some people do that, like someone that are trying to run cover for Disney. They're like saying, okay, and this is so much more than the first Guardians, which opened now almost a decade ago, when with completely different price structure in cinemas, inflation, and what have you, as if that somehow is like a hit. No, attendance-wise, this movie is now back to the level of the first one. And the first one, that went up against expectations, because then it was a novelty. Now it's the last big thing that Marvel has left. The Guardians of the Galaxy by now are the establishment. Everyone loves them, and it still wasn't able to do much more attendance-wise than the first movie. And it's a market retraction since last year's movies. The only thing you can say is that, well, at least it opened higher than Quantumania, which was a massive flop.
Yeah, that's nothing to be proud of, is it, really?
No, it isn't.
No, and I mean, hopefully, this movie does have legs for its sake, but I just don't see it really happening all that much. But yeah, we'll see.
No. Real quick, I'm not reading this out, but cheers, Alan B. Appreciate it. Ridiculous. For fuck's sake. Right, so I do know Nick is back now. So fucking hell, Nick. God, right. Anyway, so I wanted to wait till you were back for this, Nick, because we're going to be, of course, talking about Lucasfilm president sharing an update on Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie, Rogue Squadron, Lando, and more. And I think this will offer some hilarious commentary from everyone involved, to be honest. Now, we can't go to the main source, which is Empire, because I think it's behind I tried. It's not really fully there. I think it's behind a paywall. But let's take a look. So over the past few years, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy's developed something of a reputation for announcing Star Wars shows and TV shows that never happen. Yeah, obviously. That's a given. Among them is Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron, a project that was launched during Disney Investor Day with a splashy and expensive announcement video featuring the Wonder Woman director. Since then, it appears the movie's fallen apart, though Kennedy shared a surprisingly positive update during a recent interview with Empire. And she also started talking about the Lando TV series with Donald Glover, who he's gone into obscurity now as well. Has anyone noticed that? Donald Glover used to be everywhere, and he's just vanished.
Yeah, the audience weren't having it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
it. Apparently, Donald Glover remains on the books. Lando is still on the books, and Rogue Squadron is still on the books. We just want them to be great. I mean, I smell bullshit.
Do you, though?
Yeah. Really? Really?
We did see Kenobi. We saw Book of Boba Fett. I'm sure you wanted those to be great, too. I think she means she just wants everybody to like all the crap that they're throwing out there.
Yeah, that is probably rare. What she really means is, please like my show. I want it to be good. I want people to like my shows. And then she was asked about Rian Johnson's long delayed Star Wars trilogy. So just say basically the same thing. Ryan and I talk all the time. He just keeps getting more and more successful. And it keeps moving things back further and further.
Right.
One day we'll figure this out. Well, normally when people get successful, you snap them up, in the process of their rising stardom, not after they've already rose to stardom. Normally you snap them up as they're going.
Yeah.
So surely, as you saw, the popularity or whatever it is of the Knives Out, Glass Onion, whatever it is franchise.
Bullshit.
Surely at that point you would have snapped him up. No. Oh, right. So you're talking bollocks then. Lando, Donald Glover. Thoughts, Andre? Because I just think it's total bollocks. Absolute bullshit.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I really don't have much else to add. It's complete and total BS. It's just ridiculous. It's desperation trying to put, oh, look, we're doing something. Get excited for what we've got planned. We haven't done shit for years now, but now everything is gonna turn around from all of us same people who have been just failing miserably across the board for as long as you can remember. So yeah, it's all BS. I don't believe anything is coming out, especially not with multiple strikes looming and everything, and especially with all of the mass fightings, what have you. So I don't believe that anything is actually going to happen until cameras are rolling.
That is true. Well, I think with Star Wars, that's the rule of thumb, isn't it? Unless cameras are rolling, it's all bollocks, and it can
the very first step. This is what we have to keep in mind. If we have learned anything when it comes to Star Wars, it is that the very first step in a project being cancelled is it being announced.
Very true.
Donkey. Yeah.
He just had a haircut. Apparently he's licking my arm. I don't know why. Why are you licking my arm, buddy? That was what we did today. Took him out for a haircut, which took like a 4-hour round trip. Son of a bitch.
Took him to the groomers.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick, come on. You got something funny to say about this, surely. I'll bet you anything.
The Lucasfilm announcements and stuff that she says, I mean, look, given the track record, you just can't take anything this dumb B says seriously. I mean, you just cannot at this point. It is a laughable joke. Lucasfilm is a joke. Disney Star Wars is a joke. They've given us one fail after another. They've announced so many projects. We literally did a video on this, going back to where they had the big, huge project announcement back in, I think it was 2019, when Kathy was talking about all the shows coming out and everything, and all those shows have either not happened, or there were complete failures and they were canceled, or they were one-offs. I think like 60% of what was announced actually happened, and out of that 60%, the only thing still going is the Mandalorian. And of course,
that's coming to an end now anyway, because they're going to do that movie.
Yep, they're going to do the culmination, and it'll put a nice little bow on that. It'll be a nice tie-in to the sequel trilogy, and how the First Order came to be, I'm sure, or something stupid like that. But yeah, even at Celebration, when they were announcing the Rey movie, the Lindelof movie, all that, it's like, are these really going to happen, Kathy? Are they really?
That's literally what every article was coming out and saying as well. It was like, well, look, probably not going to happen, so it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, the Rey movie, we heard rumors and leaks on that, a couple months before it was officially announced. So it wasn't surprising when they announced it, but I mean, so many people are not happy and not fans of the sequel trilogy, and for them to move forward on that just seems like a bad business decision on their end.
It's weird.
And at some point in time, like, are they going to kind of try to make this movie happen and then see like, okay, this isn't going to work, and then it ultimately doesn't happen, or what? I mean, I just can't take anything coming out of their mouths seriously at all, ever.
Yeah.
Like Andre said, you know, until cameras are rolling and we're getting behind the scenes footage or pictures of you know, them filming on set and all that sort of stuff, you know, I can't buy into anything that they say.
Take it with a pinch of salt. Tom, what do you think, mate?
I don't think any of this. I mean, like, we'll get some of these things eventually, like, but as far as Rian Johnson's trilogy, no, we're starting to hear exactly what we had predicted was going to happen. He's too busy. He's, you know, doing this, he's doing that. As far as like the Lando thing, that may still happen, but I don't see it.
Because Donald Glover's he was in everything, right? He was like, and
Right.
it was childish Gambino. He's gone now. He's done.
Well, he's still around.
Yeah,
He does a lot of producing and stuff, but
does he? Okay, I didn't know that.
We'll see where that rolls. Again, though, that's attached to Solo. Unfortunately, that's the only thing with that.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy's grasping for straws here at this point. We'll have to see what gets done. I know the Acolyte, I think, is done shooting. I think they're done shooting Andor season 2, if not. I think they were already working on Ahsoka, so I think we'll at least get those projects.
I think Ahsoka's finished, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean let's I mean the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron movie.
Dead.
Will never happen.
Not with her, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think it'll happen under any form with anyone, because it was her project to begin with.
That's true, yeah. Well, but they did this with Damon Lindelof. So the Rey movie was Damon Lindelof's movie. And they just took it and changed it.
No. Actually, no, not quite. The Damon Lindelof movie, that existed before him. Like, we call it Damon Lindelof, but what it really was the Rey, let's give this another attempt post-sequel to validate the sequel movie. And then they already had that in development. And then when it already was in development, Damon Lindelof came in, had a look at it, maybe did some half a draft or something like that, and then he left. Point is, that was not a project that revolved around him. He was not the originator. He was a hired gun that came and he wrote some lines and he got kicked out or he left or whatever, but it was never his project. Rogue Squadron was Patty Jenkins' project. It wasn't a Rogue Squadron and then they hired her. No. They hired her first to make us a Star Wars movie because you're a woman. She came up with Rogue Squadron. Without her, there's no reason to do that Rogue Squadron, which was her project in the first place.
Yeah.
But Rogue Squadron did exist before
it did.
She ever came along. So
okay, well, yeah, well then, yeah.
So could they not just say, hey, we're going to do a Rogue Squadron movie? Maybe somebody else has idea because the comics and the books were really well received back in the day.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as like a part of the franchise, yes, but I think what Andre's getting at is the whole story that Patty Jenkins was pitching, inspired by her father.
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I agree. That's
that
not
whole
happening.
pitch, that was hers.
Yeah.
And that's not happening. And without that pitch, why do that thing in the first place? That's kind of like what I'm getting at. And why now, when it's already out there, that is something that's so closely linked to her. You have the story, the video with her in the cockpit and her father and everything. Why the hell would you even do a Rogue Squadron movie at this point when you can literally do 1,000 other Star Wars movies? Why choose that one?
Yeah, it's to where, like you're saying, Damon Lindelof was basically a work for hire pitch. Yeah. They said pitch us a Rey story. Probably is how it was started.
No, actually, from what I understand, it was like, okay, we already have like the gist here. We have a story that we want to be able to do this. We have something that's in both ends. So in one end, we have something in the past where we're working on basically making the original trilogy just a detour. It was about Rey the whole time, and this then is the movie that makes it. So it was about Rey the whole time. So this is what we have going on. It needs to have these characters, and these are the parameters. Make something of it go. That's basically what happened there. Yeah. And then they either didn't like what he came up with, or he didn't like the parameters. Either way, the two were.
Well, he pitched an elderly Rey who wouldn't even have Daisy Ridley.
Exactly, and that was completely against what they wanted to do, because they obviously wanted a young Rey. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, she's not going to want to see herself as an old woman. The whole idea with Rey is that she's like the idealized Kathleen Kennedy self-insert. Why would she be allowed to grow that old? A little bit older, yeah, sure, but not as old as Kathleen Kennedy herself. I mean, that would completely break her illusion.
True. We've got some super chats before we move on to the next topic. Gary for £10 says, "Yeah, I mean, people are okay with comics. They're just fed up with all the bad ones, and I think comic stuff can go on longer than westerns because there can be action, horror, thriller, comedy, but the MCU is just the same." Yeah, it's something I've been saying about comic book movies in general. I said it about the Alien franchise in general. Like you can have your main genre, and then you can insert another genre into it, or tell a story. You know, you tell a superhero story via a horror genre for sure. You could tell a horror story via, a corporate espionage movie for sure. There's a lot you could do, right? But they never do this. They never cotton on to that because I don't know. I literally don't know why. They just never do. It's why I always said you should make a body horror Clayface movie, because that'd be amazing. For DC, body horror Clayface, I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Great. You have some horrors based on comic books. 30 Days a Night.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's a horror comic book. Yeah. So like let's put it this way, for instance, right? A perfect example of this would have been, or a perfect opportunity for them to do this would have been the Blade movie. Actually make a horror movie. But they're not going to, right? That would have been core MCU.
The potential might be there with DC. Movie. Like, I wonder if like Mangold's Swamp Thing might be a bit more in the horror vein.
Yeah,
because I'm sure James is going to take advantage of the fact that they're not afraid to do R-rated stuff.
Yeah, true. But I mean, again, that is a. What I mean is, that is a horror kind of comic book already. Like that's like saying they're going to make a horror Constantine film. Well, I mean, it is horror. Whereas what you could do, you could legitimately have made a horror Ant-Man movie. You absolutely could have done. Like a
well, I think a better of what you're getting at is originally Doctor Strange 2. The original director, I forget his name, but he left because Scott Derrickson. Yeah, he wanted to do more of a straight horror film.
Yeah,
and Disney didn't, and that's why they brought in Sam Raimi instead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So there you go, the prime example, right? So there you go. There's another great example. So, again, I think Gary's right. You talk about comic book and sort of comic book being able to go on longer. They can go on longer than westerns, but they aren't.
He's entirely going
to. Yeah, he is, but I don't think they're going to, because I don't think that they've got the balls to do it.
And that's why I said that I used to reject the idea that they were comparable, but now they are, but mainly just because of the stupid crap they've done. They didn't have to be this way.
No, absolutely not. They've wrote themselves into a corner with it. It's fucking ridiculous. Black Saber for $2 says KK seems schizophrenic at this point. Yeah, like, well, she did when she was like fade in or something like that on that cue card. Oh dear, when she was trying to, I don't remember that video. When she reads the teleprompter, it says like fade in. For fuck's sake. Alan B for £2. Can you review Confessions of Window Cleaner? No. There's another one here as well. I appreciate the money, but I can't engage with this too much because you get like canned for doing stuff like this. What are your thoughts on the movie Bend Over on VHS? I haven't had a VHS for a long time. Don't know. Wartooth for 88 for $5 says, Tom, I'm trying to get drunk here and you haven't said posit enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
It's a drinking game.
Yes. Yeah, for some reason they think I said the word posit too much. I don't know.
I think on the last stream I said unequivocally too much.
You may have.
Got people. Well, it's a good word.
I can't wait for our Frankenstein retrospective.
People are going to get drunk then.
Wartooth 88 for $5 says, I'm worried the Cavill 40k verse is done before it started, like his Highlander project. Amazon's not capable of good epic shows. Just look at Rangs. They actually are. Some of the shows are really good. I mean, they were the ones who did the Terminal List. That's a fucking great series.
Oh,
yeah,
the guys
you know why?
Why?
Yeah, but you know why that's good?
Why?
Because all the powers that be were busy paying attention to ranks and the Wheel of Time, and there's only so many of them, so they don't have time to micromanage. But something like Warhammer,
they won't be able to
going to give they'll try.
They won't be able to. They won't be able to because of Games Workshop are notoriously protective of their property.
And
Games Workshop are not necessarily as
woke.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's not necessarily a good thing, but it won't actually be Amazon's side that messes it up. It'll actually be Games Workshop.
It's worse. It's just like 2000 AD. Like you have a company that owns it, but the company itself is a bad custodian because they don't understand what they have and how to do it right.
You know what it is with Rebellion, though, right? Like Jason Kingsley, he does actually understand it. He's just employed the wrong people, and he employs yes men. I don't want to get too involved into this because I know stuff which I shouldn't say, and I can't say too much.
Yeah,
he employs a whole bunch of yes men, and so they fucking lick his arsehole, and so he just goes, oh yeah, do that, yeah, that sounds great, and he's manipulated, and like he does actually understand Judge Dredd. It's the people that work for him that bum lick him that don't. And they manipulate him into getting.
And then he's still the strong. Then he's
absolutely
a too weak a leader because he doesn't recognize it, and he needed to see that the people around him, they're fucking up his property, whether they be yes men or not. Something ain't working here because how many years has it been since Mega City 1 was announced? That's what I mean. And Mega City 1 was the wrong take in the first place. It shouldn't happen in the first place. It was always wrong. They could have had Carl Urban. They lost him, and that's on them, not him.
Well, so I know, but they couldn't really. There was some. I can't get too into it live.
Yeah,
but there were some demands that were being made that weren't viable.
I think that those demands were there because they fundamentally had the wrong take. I think that if they had a take that was closer to what was done in Dredd, then maybe the demands would not have been so severe. I think the only reason the demands couldn't be met is because he didn't really want to do it, because they were doing it wrong. If they had done it right, like was done in the 2012 movie, it would have been a completely different matter, and Urban would have been there.
Yeah. Let's move on because I can't get into it too much.
Yeah, obviously.
I get told off. Darren Hughes for $5 says, howdy, Mr. H. The best way to defeat woke movie makers is promote, talk about, review, and spend money on independent, non-woke movie makers and their movies. I agree. I absolutely agree.
Mario.
And I tried to do that. Yeah, Mario. I mean, Nintendo stole the show there. Tried to do that where possible. I mean, I was one of the few movie reviewers from this sort of sphere, along with Andre, and Andre was, watched it due to the nature of it. But, we watched, I can't remember its bloody name now, the Stellan Skarsgård movie. I mean, that was independent. I can't even remember its name. Don't know why. You know what I'm talking about, the Viking one.
This is Stellan Skarsgård Viking one?
Yeah. was the Skarsgård Viking movie. We literally watched it.
Movie.
The Northman.
The Northman.
Oh yeah, the North.
Mm.
I don't know what the hell I was. You said Stellan Skarsgård. That just screwed me up. Yeah, of course, the Northman, one of my favorite movies from last year.
It was Stellan Skarsgård, isn't it? Or is
no,
it another one?
it was his son.
Which one?
Yeah, that's what I don't remember. Alexander. It was Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, anyway, but we were
like the moment when you said Stellan, I was just like the vision of the fellow.
Yeah,
I was like, what movie was he in?
I got diet brain, mate. That's my excuse. But
Troll.
But
that was
like,
another good one.
Yeah, Troll again, another one, independent movie. So they when they're out, do try to talk about them and promote them as much as possible. I got some other super chats here. So Gary for £5 says, "Wonder if they have nude women in the new Swamp Thing like the original movie. That always surprised me with it being a DC comic. With it being DC Elseworlds, there might be.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be DC Elseworlds.
I thought it was confirmed as DC Elseworlds.
Was it? I don't think that's been confirmed. Tom, has that been confirmed?
No, I think that one's in the. Unless I'm missed something somewhere. I thought that was in the initial run.
I think so too.
You know what?
Joker and the Batman are in Elseworlds.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't got any titties in them. So.
And also Constantine too. If that were to happen, that's also going to be
Keanu's Constantine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Tom working for $3 sent a super sticker. Thank you so much, my dude. And last but not least, Wartooth says, "I hear Jamie Foxx is dying, and P. Diddy and Killer to blame." I don't know about the last bit, but yeah, Jamie Foxx, apparently they're prepping for the worst, his family.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe necessarily, because maybe this is what got... I don't think this is what got me suspended from Twitter for 12 hours, but I retweeted the one that BET and a few other people have been tweeting that his family and friends are preparing for the worst. But I got one of those warnings that it wasn't verified. But I don't think that's
family.
Yeah, so I don't know where this, if it was something that was TMZ or somebody like that to put out there type thing. But
what that tells us though is that we have heard that he had a stroke. In his age, and if they're preparing for and here's the thing, we haven't seen anything of him, so it's obviously a bad stroke. Lots of people have been having strokes as of late. Yeah. Well, funny that real weird. Funny,
weird,
especially young healthy people. Let's just say, but I'm not going to get on that too much.
Yeah, let's not elaborate too much on that, shall we?
Nate's like, don't go there.
A little bit, yeah. Straight.
Well, no, but to Andre's point though, like, we heard a lot of strange shit about Jeremy Renner, right? Yeah, and within 48 hours, we had a video of him on TikTok or whatever it was, or Instagram, telling everybody, I'm okay. This is what happened. I mean, not okay, but I'm alive. Kind of thing. We haven't heard shit from Jamie Foxx. Nor have we heard shit from anybody who's like really close to him. So it's kind of, I don't want to believe it, but at the same time, we haven't seen any evidence to the contrary. So this is not good. Because usually by now, because this has been what? Was a week and a half ago this happened initially?
It was a while back now.
Roughly. It's a little bit longer. By now, usually somebody has talked to the press.
Yeah.
Nobody has said dick, at least in an official capacity, to where
there's no clarification.
Yeah. So that's not good. And usually even at least their agent or somebody will speak out, or their publicist.
Yeah, that is true. So we're going to move on to our next topic now, which, again, bad news for Disney. This is more bad news for Disney. And it's I like Katie Sackhoff, but she shares her thoughts on the Darksaber's destruction in the season 3 finale, and thus by revealing she has no idea what she's talking about, I guess, which is stupid. This is one of the dumbest things. I know you've got stuff to say on this, Nick, but this is one of the dumbest things that they did in The Mandalorian on a whole. It was just absolutely just ridiculous. Like you
when it happened, everybody's like, "What?"
And it was so like throwaway as well. Just done.
Yeah.
Gone.
What? It's literally like Luke in The Last Jedi just throwing the lightsaber over his shoulder. Like, you build up this moment like, oh, that's his father's lightsaber. He lost when he got his hand chopped off. And then you get to it and it's just like, yeah. Same thing with the Darksaber in this. So dumb.
Yeah. So she says this. I think that Bo and the Mandalorian people have been fixated on, for lack of a better word, a trinket. She's lost sight of what really matters to her people and for her people. Initial thoughts, Nick.
Okay. I just it just doesn't make any sense.
I guess better. I think she's distracted by it because I think the Mandalorian people were distracted by it. So I think that, you know, sadly, the destruction of it will potentially put things right, if you will.
Put things right. How?
I mean, they're not all of a sudden going to take their helmets off and be like, "Oh, we're one people now," are they?
Yeah,
that's more of a distraction than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah,
Surely?
again, the whole thing surrounding the Darksaber was for generations and generations and generations was surrounded around this Darksaber. It wasn't just her or just the little small group of people that were around her. It was everybody on Mandalore, you know, followed that. So it's like,
Tom's having like a seizure there.
No, this is dumber than, almost as dumb as destroying the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
And then trying to say they're no more important than paperweights. Like, this to me, and again, I could be way off, but this reeks to me of Kathleen Kennedy dealing with this whole situation of, I think Favreau's out the door, and a lot of shit that was in this initial plan is like, get it done or it's not going to get covered again.
Yeah. Well,
so
again,
I think that they decided to end this Darksaber story now. So it's no longer
you're right.
anything they have to deal with. It just seems so stupid.
Yeah.
Well, they build it up so much.
Well, apparently, yeah, well, that's the thing, right? They did build it up, and then according to Katie Sackhoff, it was always the plan. It was in the script, so we knew it was happening. And I think I was a little like, I'm sorry, you're doing what? But it's one of those things where I think in order for Bo and the Mandalorians to have a fresh start, the right leader has to be leading no matter what they possess. So why did you include it in the first place? Why did you also have those weird tangential moments where, you know, there was the mythosaur as well? Because that's an element of, like, what? None of this makes any sense.
I mean, if it's really about a transfer of power, then what the fuck do you need excuse my French, but what the hell do you need the stupid blade for in the first place then? You could it's just a Fugazi at that point. There you go. Now you can drink. I said Fugazi. It doesn't make any sense. It just might as well just be a title, right? Yeah. Like, the whole point of the Darksaber was it was a saber that was stronger than any lightsaber, right, Nick? If I remember right.
Well, it was.
Or it could cut through the metal, right?
It could cut through Beskar. It was designed for that, and then it was created by the only Mandalorian Jedi that there was, you know, at the time. So, you know, it could also, you know, go up against other Jedi and lightsabers.
Oh, now I want to see that story instead.
Yeah.
Mandalorian Jedi, take my money.
Yeah, you know, and you would think that they would have maybe started to introduce or bring something like that along as they progress in the story, because that's a cool concept and a cool idea. You know, seeing a Mandalorian Jedi, basically a Jedi Boba Fett, you know, or something. But again, they don't know what they're doing.
That goes back to my point earlier about the Batman series, right? It's like there's an obviousness to what the fans want, and for some reason it's like they do everything but give the fans what they want. And sprinkle in just little things here and there, like we're supposed to go, oh my god, it's Luke, you know.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. They don't know what they're doing. As usual.
I don't get it. Where is the incentive in not giving the audience what they want? And I'm not saying everything has to be fan service either. Don't get me wrong. But seriously, it's like we have restaurants that sell specific types of food for a reason. They cater to a customer. right? I go to see a superhero movie because I want to see a guy in tights kick the shit out of a guy who looks like a clown.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, it's like
is
it's
that?
not that complicated to get butts and seats.
I want to see him, the clown guy, come up with a clever plot that pisses the guy in tights off. Right? Like that's all it needs.
And the thing is that I mean, we have cases where they've listened to the fans and stuff and turned things around, like with the original Sonic movie, and then that movie did really well. People are like, "Oh, this looks like shit.
Picard.
I'm not going to go see it." Yeah, Picard season 3.
The multiple Star Trek shows. So yeah.
Yeah. So and when they do that, they see success. So why do not more people say, "Hey, look, this actually works. Maybe we should go out there and listen to what people are saying, and then try to build our story around that, or add stuff in there, or take stuff out, and change it to where they'll be happy, and then they'll tell other people about it, and then those people come watch the content."
They had that moment in Star Wars, to bring it back to Star Wars, Nick, and I'm sure this is where Andre can pipe in, because this is a point that he's made several times over. Regardless of how you felt about The Mandalorian or the moment when Luke Skywalker came back into the picture, what that did for the franchise at that moment was bring back a good portion of the goodwill that had been lost over the past few years.
So many people.
And they pissed it away.
Yep.
Andre, take over.
In weeks. Yeah, no, because it's exactly as you said, Tom, that created so much goodwill and excitement. Remember, that's the moment when The Mandalorian became huge. It was fine before, but it was with the return of Luke Skywalker that it became huge. And that lasted all the way up until, to do another 2000 AD reference, the double whammy of first Pablo Hidalgo laughing at Star Wars Theory for being emotional in his reaction. This was days after.
Yeah.
So that was like the first bad build right there. And then the fighting of Gina Carano, which was, as I like to put it, the removal of one of the load-bearing pillars, and then the whole superstructure that Favreau had planned collapsed.
And don't think that Gina Carano thing wasn't planned to go down the way it was.
Oh, absolutely.
And we all knew it. You could tell, like, I don't know if the stream's still up or not, but you can tell, because I was there with Star Wars Theory and all those guys, Drunk 3PO and all that stuff, and we're told what was going on, and we got that news. It was like, it went from being like a celebration to a funeral. Like that.
Yeah.
That's also, incidentally, the single biggest and longest Midnight's Edge stream we ever had. Was also the Gina Carano Fire stream.
We got to take some more super chats briefly. Tom working for $5 says lots of American people having strokes. Extraditional. Whoa, you're doing too much. Mode wealth equals success. Again, can't get too into that. Dolph Lundgren has cancer, possibly from steroids. I don't
I didn't hear this.
I didn't
know that.
I didn't even know. He's been battling cancer for the last 8 years.
Really?
8 years.
Apparently.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Wow. I mean, I did kind of notice he was looking a little, like, I wouldn't say under the weather, but like the last few movies. But damn, yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. I don't even know if we're allowed to get too into that, to be fair. I don't know what YouTube's rules are.
No, that should be fairly fine, because that's something that if he's had it for 8 years, then it's not brought on by anything recent.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's tragic. Did not know that. Israel R for $20 says, hello everyone. In your opinion, is there a need to make a Lando Star Wars movie and the like? Is Lucasfilm in creative bankruptcy, or is it a ploy to destroy original Star Wars canon in order to force the Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars?
The latter is correct, yes.
Yeah, I agree. The latter.
Yeah, there does seem to be a heavy focus on that.
Who cares about Lando?
I'll tell you.
I mean, I like Lando, but
Nick, I rephrase that for my no. I'll take a Lando Calrissian movie if Quentin Tarantino directs and writes it.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like a blaxploitation 70s flick.
100% for sure. where we get hands down. I didn't even think
Orlando
about
is the
that,
baddest
but
mofo in the universe, and the women just fawn
yeah,
over him.
and he's like a pimp at the same time.
Yes, basically
Like,
Shaft in space.
yes, I would definitely watch that. So somebody get Tarantino on the
There's
phone
actually
right
a
now.
parody trailer out there that somebody did of that already, Nick. I'll have to send that your way. But it's
Oh,
like,
God.
yeah, it's basically like if Quentin Tarantino had made a Lando
Yeah.
Calrissian movie.
I
It feels like
would
it was made in the
definitely like that.
70s. I would watch that. Yes.
Yeah, and the thing is, that would be cool to see an aspect of Lando like that, and then we get him in Empire, and Han's like, look at you, you're a leader and you're responsible, and he's like a completely different person at that point in time. That would be really interesting to see.
Well, that would be an
I
actual
think so.
character arc, which I don't think they're capable of doing now.
No way Disney's
I don't
doing
want
like
their
that.
version of Lando, though. No, I don't want what they have. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's unequivocally that they're looking to push the Catholic.
Because I always looked at it this way. Sorry, Nate. You look at Empire, because Nick's right. You always think Han Solo's the coolest mofo in the universe, right? Until he runs into Lando. And he's like, you can tell he is threatened by Lando.
Yeah.
And the first thing Lando does is start hitting on his woman. He's like, hello, what have we here?
Yeah. And Han literally tells Chewie, like, hey, keep your eyes open, like he's like, I don't really know how I feel about being here. It's kind of sketchy, because has that reputation or had those dealings with him in the past. So.
Well, isn't that how he even got a hold of Cloud City? That it was in a game or something like that. He basically, he sort of, how did he get Cloud City? I swear it was through nefarious means. It wasn't exactly.
I don't know if he ever said specifically, did he? I'm sure they covered it in a EU novel or something.
He didn't say specifically. I'm sure it's probably in a book somewhere. But I know he lost the Falcon in the card game to Han. But how he acquired Cloud City to like kind of run and administer that whole place, it's never actually said in the movies. Like I said, it might be in a book, but I don't know. Somebody in chat might know.
Well, I've just Googled it. I've just Googled it. Sometime after gambling away his starship, the Millennium Falcon, the young smuggler Lando Calrissian gambled big and won control of Cloud City.
Oh, okay. So it was okay. That makes sense.
I was right. I was bloody right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that version of Lando in a movie would be great. The version we're going to get in a series will be absolute poo.
Yeah.
And that'd be an interesting story, right? To see like a guy who's this basically a pirate gain control of this entire city and then realize all the responsibilities now that are on his shoulders, and what brought him from that point to where we see him in Empire. That's an interesting story to see, but they'll never cover something like that.
No, it'll be tons of virtue signaling and all kinds of messaging and crap.
Yeah.
Of course, it comes from a modern day Lucasfilm. That's like why I'm not interested in anything coming from there during the current management, because there's no way anything of it can be good until there's a complete wipeout and purge. And maybe we'll see what happens at the end of the purge that it's happening at Disney right now. But anything that has been in development at all, it needs to be something that's completely fresh started from a new set of eyes. But anything that, basically anything that is in any stage of development right now in this moment, I certainly have zero hope for and zero excitement for anything.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just dump. Absolute dump.
I just got an update here. It's actually, it goes like this. Cancer got Dolph Lundgren for the last 8 years, and it's been fighting him. But he's like, I must break you. So,
so he
did.
does.
I've been reading about it since hearing about it in the background here.
Yeah.
And,
so how's he doing?
It is right now, it's looking really good because
good. I'm glad my joke isn't bad.
No, because he first had cancer in 2015, and then it went into remission. and then it came back around 2020, 2021, and then the original doctor in Sweden thought that he would have maximum a couple of years left, and they were going to start like one treatment regimen. But then he went to London and he got a second opinion, and they told him that if you get the regimen that they have planned for you in Sweden, you won't have years left, you'll have months left, because they're wrong. It's this kind of cancer instead. And so they started their treatment, and that shrunk his tumors by like up to 90%, because he had like spread in like several parts of his body. He had like tumors, but with this new treatment, they all shrunk. And now he's in the process of surgically removing them. And after that is done, hopefully he should be cancer free. And then he should, in theory, have many more years left. That is the
well, fingers crossed.
that is the theory, and that's also like when you look at recent recent pictures of him, he doesn't look like he would be capable of returning to the role of Drago right now in this moment, let's say. But that obviously is because he's been subject to a bunch of like chemo and radiation and what have you to shrunk all that, and that ages the rest of the body by a good 10 years as well.
Yeah, no, pretty brutal.
But if it works, he may be able to recover. So yeah, this but we do have to be very, very careful about what we say here, because the initial one in 2015, that obviously had nothing to do with anything that could have been brought on by steroids or something like that. But that it suddenly came back with such a vengeance, with tumors everywhere in 2021, after possibly some other kind of treatment where this is a known side effect. Let's
shuffle on, shall we? Let's shuffle on. So we've got some more super chats real quick. Wartooth88, Bradley Cooper rumored to play Batman in Gunverse. I haven't heard that. I don't like it personally. I think that's bad. Andre Romanyuk for $10 says, hello H, and Cast Acolyte is going to suck, as you guys have already said. Have you guys read what Leslie Headland said about the story being a modern political commentary? We're going to touch on that in a minute. That is actually our next topic, so just wait for that and we'll cover it. I don't want to go too much into it right now, but thank you so much for the super chat as well, my dude. Goes a long way. Everyone's super chats goes a long, long way to helping out the channel. And I hope you understand why I don't want to touch on that just yet, because it's literally our next topic. Let me just get these super chats done. Tom Worker for $5 says, lack of info on Jamie Foxx family initiative. It's okay to be insular. We don't need to know. Yes, that is absolutely true. But the lack of... it's the lack of...
usually in these kind of situations, you get some kind of update. Exactly. You know, they, even if it's kind of cryptic or something or other, they at least to try and quell or squash a lot of the, rumor mongering and shit like that. Yeah.
Especially when it's really serious. I mean, the thing is that Bruce Willis comes to mind, at a certain point when like it was really, really deteriorating, he came out, his family came out. Yeah, actually he's got this, like, shut up, calm down.
And a lot of it was to just squash a lot of the rumors and crap that were flying around, basically.
Heavily negative press, yeah. So, and then he got a bunch of good press and all is right with the world. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Then there was that one actress who I can't remember the name of, but just like the rumor, like it spread like wildfire that she had passed away. And then they're like, no, she's not dead yet. But then she did sadly pass away a few days later. But again, it's just one of those things where, news spreads so much faster now than it used to. And people talk about these things and stories get stretched into purple monkey dishwasher real quick. Like,
statements being made sort of the norm. So the fact there isn't one being said, I think it shows that there's
Tanya Roberts. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, sorry.
Not really something happy. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
At first, I was like, I didn't think it was nearly this serious because I'm like, you'd think,
I didn't think so either. But now they're like preparing literally for the worst. You're like, whoa, okay.
And we haven't heard, and that's what that was my point about the silence from anybody from the family, a publicist, anybody, right? Like that's
it's
where you're
almost
like,
they've entered a period of mourning straight away, kind of thing, which is like, ooh, not good. So, Gary for £5 says, someone said orange lightsabers in the Ahsoka trailer look like they are finally introducing the third faction, Dark Jedi, into live action with Jedi and Sith. Nick, I can't really address this. Nick, give me
it's almost like it's a play on the old Kenner 1983 lightsabers that they came out with. There's actually, if you guys are interested, there's actually an interview out there with Dave Filoni talking about it.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll have to check that out. Last super chat before we move on to our very, very funny topic about Leslie Headland. Tom Worker for $5 says the Darksaber, a prime example of the Mandalorians and then Jedi, the best of both worlds. All the build up to then just smash it to one side, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, we sort of covered it, but yeah, absolutely ridiculous. But let's go on to our next topic. Leslie Headland. As a queer filmmaker, you're going to see some camp, inevitably. But I would say that tonally, our references are darker. Doesn't that just fill you with joy?
Mm-hmm. So, dark gayness?
Apparently, it's David Bowie meets Star Wars. I have a mullet, I have horns, it's cute. This is from Daphne Keane.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if it was Clive Barker saying something like that. But given what we know about Leslie Headland, this fills me with dread.
Yeah, 100%.
Sounds fucking terrible, doesn't it? It sounds absolutely terrible. None of this sounds good. We can't actually go. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
The thing is, from the very first time that they even announced this, like people were hating on them even doing it. So much so that they were saying this project probably isn't even going to happen. It's so bad that Disney's going to figure it out and it's probably not even going to happen. Then we started seeing, images from the set, and the cameras were actually rolling. And then now everybody's like, what are they thinking? Why? Like the concept is cool, like a Sith focused type of story, way back before the prequels and that sort of thing. The concept is fine. It's the people involved in this concept and project. In the comments made by Leslie Headland, for instance, one saying, I want writers who don't know anything about Star Wars. Why would you have writers that don't know anything about Star Wars? Literally people are going to be watching going, this isn't Star Wars. Well, no shit, because she hired people that don't know anything about Star Wars. It's mind-boggling. The people they put in charge of this stuff because of wokeness reasons and because they want to check off their boxes and be like, look who we got and who's now doing Star Wars, and virtue signal that out there to be like, look how great of a company and look how good we are because we're including these people, and ultimately they're just destroying the entire franchise. And this is just another nail in the Star Wars coffin. Leslie Headland's acolyte, queer-coded agenda crap show that's going to be coming out. And it's going to turn even more and more people off. They slowly just keep losing more and more people as these shows come out. There's a lot of people excited for Mando season 3 when it came out. By the end of it, people were like, I'm done, and they had stuck out through Book of Boba Fett and the crap Kenobi show that we got, and then, it's so bad what they're doing over there.
I love your rants. They're so funny.
I just have really one thing to say about it, and that this is a great opportunity for everyone to not watch it when it opens to Disney Plus, and instead maybe consider canceling their Disney Plus account the day it opens. So now, this is the point where you have to look on the bright side, and this is a great opportunity to let Disney know exactly how you feel about something like this. And considering that Guardians is struggling now, we only yesterday Bob Iger had to come out and admit that, we've actually lost like 4 million subscribers on Disney Plus since the last time when we also had lost several million. Granted, most of that is from India because they didn't get like this. What's this game?
Just
That's like
it's a cricket,
English
cricket thing. Yeah.
cricket. Thank you. Never played it, but anyway, yeah, they lost like this cricket thing. That's most of it, but still, it's a slight reduction in the States as well. And the best Star Wars series for ages outside of Mandalorian season 2, like Casio Keyboard, which season 2 being shut down now. Apparently, it's good, but no one was watching it. I mean, that's brand damage. Can you imagine what the Acolyte is going to do?
Oh yeah.
Something that comes out and it's still right there in the poster and everything. This is propaganda. You do not want to watch this. I mean, that's going to flop so bad. It's going to send such a great message. So you have to be happy about it at that point. It's like, fine. Disney wants to die on this hill. At the very least, we can help them. Send a message to everyone else.
Well, and one thing that bothers me the most about this whole thing, and I hate being that guy, but I can't stand Leslie Headland. In fact, I pretend she's a Flintstone character named Leslie Headstone, and she sounds like this when she talks, just so I can deal with her. At this point, like, a lot of people give everybody from Robert Rodriguez to Quentin Tarantino to even Kevin Smith shit about being a Weinstein boy and not speaking up. This bitch is the ultimate Weinstein boy, and ain't nobody putting her to any kind of task at all. Right? I ain't never once heard anybody ask her about, like, so you were his assistant. Wouldn't you have known about this stuff?
No, she's protected.
She's absolutely protected, Andre, and that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
And honestly, at this point, she shouldn't even be somebody who should still be working in Hollywood because of that shit. Because I guarantee you she knows where the fucking bodies are buried. And I'm not going to make any more accusations, but I'll tell you, I'm sure she had a lot bigger part to play in that whole scheme than anybody else. I would love to go see her old play based on working for Weinstein or whatever it was and see how that kind of went out. And yeah, see if there's anything we can pick up on that. I don't know. She is somebody who shouldn't be working in Hollywood. This Acolyte show is kind of the, what do we call it? The epitome of basically all this woke crap and woke problems we have in Hollywood. All wrapped up into one. I hope it turns out to be the Velma of the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah,
they got a second season then, weren't they? It's like they did with Velma, but yeah, no, you're completely right. Absolute shit show. Absolute shit show. We've got one super chat that dropped in here. Doug, 1985 VA loves horror. Says, imagine if Dune 2 is successful in all ways and fills that space opera void with the caveat of being planned out, leading to being a very successful franchise. Disney with Star Wars will be fucked, I presume is what you say there. Well, people forget that, Dune inspired a lot of Star Wars, didn't it, if I remember rightly? Or was it? Yeah.
No. You remember correctly.
Yeah.
Dune was one of the inspirations behind Star Wars. Not the primary one, but it was one of them.
Yeah. I mean, like, I really like. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say a lot more Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers, but yes, Dune definitely played a role.
Yes. That was the other thing I was about to say was the Flash Gordon.
And a little bit of Kurosawa.
This is why I was like very clear with like not the primary, but it was one of them.
Yes,
and honestly, what probably was more an inspiration than Dune itself was probably the script that was making the rounds of Jodorowsky's Dune, like the storybook that made the rounds around Hollywood. Honestly, that may have been a bigger inspiration than the actual book Dune, but still, there's some pretty heavy Dune inspiration in there.
I mean, if I can have 2 seconds just to kind of
go for it.
Stick up for my boy Tarantino, because a lot of people call him a ripoff artist. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were doing what he's doing now way back with them. What the hell do you think Star Wars is?
Yeah.
It's basically the Pulp Fiction of sci-fi shows. It really is. And same thing with Steven Spielberg and what he did with things like E.T. and Close Encounters. He was just taking the shows and movies that he watched in the 60s and 50s and was making big budgeted
modern day versions
movies of them. Yeah. That's really all they were doing.
That's what many people don't get. The reason why Tarantino is up there with Spielberg and those guys is because he did what they did. He only did it in the 90s when it was a new generation that didn't recognize what
Genres,
Spielberg and company had already done, because they were grandfathered in by that time. Whereas Tarantino, he did what they had done before, only with a different brand of movie. But basically, he did what they had done before.
Yeah, only his inspiration was spaghetti westerns and crime dramas and pulp stories, basically, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you see that, like, I remember when Grindhouse came out, Death Proof, Planet Terror, Machete, Kill. Like, man, like you see what he grew up on in those kind of films.
The exploitation films, exactly.
We've had a member, Dragon Reborn, member for 27 months at supporter level 1. Hail the table. Hope everyone is well and good. If KK and Kevin Feige were gone with all their Nimrod bints, great phrase, who would be your ideal choice to lead? Probably Favreau.
Favreau would definitely be better than Kathleen Kennedy or anybody else.
It would be better than Filoni. Sorry, just to be clear, I didn't mean that Filoni should replace. I would just mean that I just couldn't help yourself, because it sounded like you were looking for the word Filoni, and Favreau would be better than pretty much anyone else we know. So yeah, I agree. Favreau
James
all
Gunn
the way.
For all of them.
Yeah, but God, that James Gunn do absolutely everything. He's one man.
I know, I'm joking. I just thought of that though, because I seen an interview with him from the original Guardians, and he was like, I got this job, and I looked at it and I'm like, I think a lot of people expected me to make something like Star Wars, but he said, I didn't want to make something like Star Wars. I want to make something that makes you feel like I felt when I saw Star Wars the first time.
And he nailed that 100%.
You see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, again, we need somebody like that. Somebody, and it may not necessarily be him, but somebody who understands that what we're doing here. And Feige used to be like that, right? I mean, at least in the sense of knowing how to put these people together in these movies. Marvel is...
It was like Feige completely changed after Endgame.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. The checks and balances guy was out the door with like Perlmutter. He didn't have guys like Favreau and the others still helping him along that were more veteran creatives. James Gunn also had gotten fired around that period. And again, I'm not just bringing him in just because of that, but I mean, again, he is a part of that crew of those original guys that, to me, that is where if he's actually meaning what he says in the press about going back to veteran directors, veteran writers, things like that, as long as you mean also getting back to classic Marvel storytelling, you'll be fine. Yeah. Star Wars, on the other hand, is screwed. They are so screwed right now. Their chance is gone. We just touched on that earlier. The moment had come and went, because you don't get too many second chances with these kind of things. No, I think Star Wars is probably dead for another generation, probably.
Yeah, under the current regime of people that are running it, it's hard to argue against that, Tom, for sure.
Because I don't know if there's anything they can. I mean, Nick, you'd be the first to be able to tell us what they'd be able to possibly do to get the fans back at this point, and I don't know if it's possible.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, definitely. I mean, I see a lot of people wanting to see the original characters back on screen together. They're not going to do that. It's going to be so expensive to do the deep fakes and all that sort of thing. And I just don't see them putting the money into doing that. And they're so focused on building up what they've created and creating new stuff. I just don't see them going back. But the thing is, and I've said this on our show, they have the entire EU expanded universe, the comics, all that sort of stuff. And they have animation teams and departments. They could literally just put those legend stories and books out in animation, and people would actually like that stuff. All the live action stuff, people probably still crap on that and probably won't like it very much. But there's so many good stories out there that they could just recreate for just an easy audience to get pulled in. Just stick to the actual story, though. Don't try to change it, race swap, gender swap, all that sort of thing, which is probably what they would end up doing.
Oh yeah, 100% unequivocally.
I think Nick hit
I don't
the
think they'll
nail
ever get them back.
As I say, I think the nail on the head there's this. We've gotten to a point where technologically people from their own homes can make stuff almost as good as Hollywood. So
Yeah,
sooner or later, you're just going to get people who can do animation stuff at home. They're just going to start animating all these EU stories and stuff like that. And when those are more popular than the actual thing, kind of like how Star Trek Continues for a while there was more popular than Discovery and all the stuff they were pumping out. I mean, again, I'm not somebody who is somebody who says, "Oh, you should put your money into a fan film." That's the last thing I think you should do, personally. If you think you've got talent, put it into something that you can original, like Nate with his short film, like you can actually show and have potential to do. Because if you just show up the studios, they're gonna ignore you even more. In fact, you'll get blacklisted.
Darth Angelus on YouTube is actually recreating and animating Heir to the Empire, the first Timothy Zahn.
You said this
book.
before, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, yep. And he just actually released the next chapter. I think he's only got like 6 chapters left of the first book to do, but he's doing that all on his own. He has voice actors and all that sort of stuff. He's doing a chapter at a time, and he's doing a really good job.
He didn't ask me to do Harrison Ford.
Right. So, ladies and gents, just a real quick one. So, one, thank you so much for everyone's super chats. If you're not a member of the channel already, please do consider becoming one. But not only that, if you want to support a little bit further, if you're a member, migrate over to Patreon. And the reason why I don't like giving Patreon money, but I get more money from Patreon. So if you're a member and you want me to get more money, I get more money from Patreon than I do YouTube memberships. So consider supporting the channel via memberships, Patreon. It's all linked down below. Everyone's channel is linked down below as well. What are you guys up to? What's happening moving forwards? Andre, what's happening over on Midnight Sage, buddy?
Yeah, we just dropped a video a couple of hours ago, which I think everyone should check out, because for the first time anywhere, we actually break down ESG and how detrimental that is to entertainment. Disney, for instance, using an amazing case study that has just presented itself, namely Bud Light, because they're subject to the exact same forces and whims. So yeah, go check out our most recent video, and we will break down exactly how the ESG bracket or racket works.
Perfect. So yeah, please do check them out, ladies and gents. Just as an FYI, over on the members section of the community tab, as well as Patreon, you'll find a link soon to a members only stream, which will be happening after this stream. So you do get benefits to being a member and a patron. But stay tuned for that. That will drop momentarily. Nick, what do you got coming up? Let me guess.
Chill stream tonight.
You doing? Are you actually doing a chill stream tonight?
Yeah, we're doing one on the title is The Force is Female, and we're going to be covering some major Star Wars news that's come out this week. The Leslie Headland stuff will be some of that. Coach actually just dropped a Katie Sackhoff video and a Leslie Headland video today.
Brilliant.
Actually on both of those subjects. And so we'll be discussing tonight over there at 7 o'clock Central Time.
Excellent. So yeah, please do check them out. Tom, what do you got going on, buddy?
Well, I think I'm going to be on the WDW Pro show here in a little bit, and then I got Mead coming up later tonight, and then probably Comics Division. I'm always doing something. And then we got the morning show tomorrow. Does
anyone know where Culture went to? Because he didn't turn up.
If he didn't turn up, then there's probably either an emergency with work or something, because I haven't heard from him all day, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was also busy during our stream yesterday, so I know he was busy with something then.
Something might have come up. Right. I'll check in with him. Yeah, I'll check in with him.
Yeah, well, he's all right. And what's happening on the main channel? All the usual goodness, ladies and gents. But down below in the description box, you will find the second channel link, Mistakes Reviews Live Archives. Please do hit subscribe. But for me and everyone else, that wraps it up. I will join you for a members-only stream momentarily. You can find that linked on Patreon soon, as well as the community tab on YouTube. And I will say as well, there is a chill stream where it's just me and you guys hanging out, shooting the breeze over on Sunday evenings as well. So stay tuned for that. But from me and everyone else, thank you so much. Take care. Hope you have a great day. Peace out.
Bye, guys.
Take care.